Hello. We
Good
have
morning.
Sarah with us today for Parent2Parent, connecting with Nicu parents. Sarah, how are you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Today we're going to talk about Sarah's NICU journey. And Sarah had her NICU journey a little while ago. It was back April, May of 2007. Do you care to share with us any about that?
I'll be glad to. Our NICU journey started actually probably back in my pregnancy. We found out that our son was going to be born with a congenital heart defect, and we knew after birth that he was going to require open heart surgery. Um, Things happened a little differently. We didn't actually expect to be in the NICU. We expected to go ahead and come home, bring him home that night, and or when they released us from the hospital, be home maybe 6 to 8 weeks, and then head down to Charleston for his surgery and to go through that. After he was born, he was unstable. Things were a little more severe than they anticipated, and thus began our NICU journey. Um, we Immediately after he was born, they kind of whisked him away. We just got to hold him for just a minute. They took him away down to NICU. It was about 4 hours later before I actually got to see him. They wheeled me in. I was in a wheelchair, couldn't walk yet, and got to see him laying there in the open crib. Which at the time I thought, okay, the open crib that's a good thing. But the open crib is for more critical, and then they go to the isolate. So I thought, okay, well things aren't quite as bad as we seemed, and here's this big, because he was 38 weeks when he was born, so here's our big, fat baby laying in this room with all these very tiny, fragile children, and so our experience was a little different in that our baby looked healthy, but was not at all stable. He was just as unstable as any other, with issues and stuff. So we spent we spent 11 days in the NICU at Spartanburg, and Caden was life flighted to Charleston on day 11. He wasn't stable enough to ride an ambulance, so they life flighted him to Charleston, and from there was transferred to an ICU area, um, and had open heart surgery 3 days later. So at 14 days old, he had his open heart surgery. So that's kind of ours, was a brief stint in the NICU, but it's a different perspective in that ours wasn't a premature birth. It was, you know, a full-term birth with major critical health issues. So, I hope that our experience will give kind of a different perspective maybe to some moms who feel like, well, we don't belong in part of that NICU group. We don't belong in part of, as a part of that struggle with a premature child. But, every family's story and every family's experience is unique to them, and it's just as hard for one family to go through the premature as it is for another family to go through a critical medical issue. So, I hope that'll, let other moms feel okay with, their experience and feeling bad, and, having that feeling of, the sadness and the overwhelming aspect of having a child in the NICU.
How did you handle your low moments in the NICU, and what would you describe as one of your low moments? Especially that was a very short stint, but it sounds like it was a very intense stint as well, to have to
It
go through
was,
all of that in 11 days.
yeah. We The worst moment for me was leaving the hospital without my baby. We have two older children, so I had gone through, the joyous, walking out of the door with your new baby and putting them in the car seat, and taking them home, and, and everything being okay. Everything's fine. They're normal. And so leaving the hospital empty handed that first day um, was, I think, was really the hardest. Um, not being able to be there, having someone else caring for him. Um, and I'll be honest, the only way that I got through most of those days was the prayer of family and friends. I absolutely know there were days I could not even get myself out of bed. That it was just by the grace of God I was able to get up and, take care of my other children and get myself ready and get to the hospital and, take care of him as much as I could during that time. So, and it was extremely intense because every shift change, something would happen. Every doctor's round, there was a new update, there was something else, and then it was a constant. We're going to fly him out on day 3. Well, we can't fly him out on day 3, so we're going to keep him here, and then we're going to fly him out maybe on day 4. And then that morning, well, it'll probably be this evening. So it was a constant back and forth. Is he going to go to Charleston? Is he going to stay here? What do we need to do? How do we plan? It was really living moment to moment for those 11 days. Not sure when we needed to pick up and go or stay, or how to handle our lives.
While in Charleston, I have actually two questions. Who was there for you for support in Charleston? And also, while in Charleston, where did you stay? Did you stay in Charleston the whole time, or were you back in this area?
Um, we did not have a big support network. We had our close friends and family. Um, my husband's a very private person, and during that time, we just didn't know what to expect. We didn't have anyone to talk to. We didn't really have any friends or family or know anyone that had gone through it. And of course, this is 2007, so MySpace had just started. There was no Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Every mom under the sun wasn't blogging. It wasn't easy to find help or support, and we really just didn't have much to go on. And for us, his prognosis, the doctors were telling us like, oh, things are going to be, we're going to get through this. We do this all the time, but for us in our hearts, we had not experienced it. We didn't know anyone who had experienced it. So for our family, it was just it was just a very dark time for us. We didn't have a lot of support. But we, you asked me a second part and I've forgotten now because
No, you're fine. Where did you stay while you were in the area?
we actually got a hotel room we were in Charleston for about a week, maybe a little over a week, maybe 9 days. We were in Charleston and we ended up just paying for a hotel room because it was myself, my husband, and our older 2 children. So Ronald McDonald House isn't really set up for a family. It's more set up for a parent or maybe 2 parents, but it's not set up for an entire family to live there for, a long amount of time. And there weren't a whole lot of resources, either places to go. So we ended up just staying in a hotel for the time that we were down there, somewhere close to the hospital. We could, kind of get back and forth fairly quickly.
What are some of your happier moments in the NICU unit? If you had to say you had a happy moment, especially with him being in an ICU situation the whole time, what would be classified as a happy moment?
Um, when our older kids were able to come in and visit with their brother, meet their brother for the first time, that was probably one of the best experiences to see them, be able to be a part of his life and his birth. I think he was probably 4 days old before they got to meet him or see him. So that was probably one of the happier times, and just being able to go in and sit, and take him out of his isolate and just to hold him. I mean, just holding him there in your arms and having him, respond to you and kind of open his eyes and, feel like a mom to your child, because you don't feel like a mom when they're hooked up to 100 wires and machines beeping at you every time you try and touch them, or you don't feel like a parent. You feel like a third party to, healthcare, to a healthcare worker. You feel like somebody kind of outside because I don't know what all those machines mean. I don't know what all those wires are for. All I know is I want to hold my baby. I want to be his mom. I want to, touch him and hold him and feel his little breath. And so being able to hold him and have him next to me would be second to having our family together as a whole.
I'm gonna throw a twist on you. Where is Caden now, and how's Caden doing as far as the congenital heart?
Caden at this very moment is outside riding his bicycle with no training wheels.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Really
He just learned yesterday to ride his bike with no training wheels, so we cannot keep him off of it. Was joking. He looks like the Wicked Witch of the West riding his little bike around. He just needs a dog in a basket. But he's stable. He's healthy. He's had a much better prognosis than what was expected. We expected to be after surgery in Charleston for at least 3-4 weeks, possibly 6 to 8 weeks, and we were back home in 5 days. So
that's a blessing.
We really feel like God gave us Caden's good prognosis and good turnout from surgery as a way to open our hands and hearts and open our time to focus our attention on helping other families. Because we're not hyper focused on our child. We can help other people through our experience, and they see, you can see Caden riding his bike, and that gives families who are in that dark spot, who are in that no hope, and just feel so overwhelmed and just feel like I can't see to tomorrow. Maybe that little video of him riding his bike with no training wheels gives them just enough that they need to make it through today, to get through to tomorrow, and to see, like, no matter what, there's always hope for a situation. Things don't always have to be as difficult as they may feel.
I want to ask you one more question. You said Caden had congenital heart disease, and I remember when we talked earlier, you said that you and your family started a nonprofit due to that. Would you share a little bit about that?
Sure. After he was born, I really felt the Lord laid it on my heart to reach out to other families. And again, like I said, with his surgery going so smoothly, and his recovery being so quick, God really did free up my heart and my time to focus on other families. So later in 2007, around September, we started getting the paperwork together and getting the foundation laid. And in November of 2007, we had a meeting with 5 families, and those 5 families from across the state. And from there, God has just really opened doors for us left and right to be able to help thousands of families. We help. I'll be up in the middle of the night. I'll talk to a mom who's just needs someone to cry with, to be able to pray with families, to give them hope for their situation, to let them know someone else is here, that someone's been through it. So we offer, that emotional support. We offer financial support through helping to pay for hotel expenses, travel expenses, and in the event that they should need it, we help to pay for bereavement costs for families when we need to. So we just really try and be the support that insurance doesn't cover, that family and friends who haven't been through this particular part of the journey as a parent. We try and offer that type of support, and just a community to come together and help each other and be there for each other. So that's what Palmetto Hearts has done for the last 7 years.
That is a major, major deal. Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
I have one last question before we wrap this party up. Will you tell us any thoughts you have from parent to parent as far as what you would like to share as advice that would help a parent through their NICU experience? Any tidbits or tips?
The biggest thing that I always tell the moms and dads that I talk to is you are entitled to feel the way that you feel at that moment. You are entitled to feel angry, to be sad, to rejoice, to feel overwhelmed, to question. You are entitled to those feelings that you have at that moment in your life. And friends and family, they say things to you, like it's going to be okay, or you're going to get through this, or, everything happens for a reason, and they mean well, and it's because they don't really know what to say to you. And when friends and family tell you, oh, try not to be so sad, try and cheer up, just remember that you're entitled to those feelings. You're entitled to the anger. There's a lot of anger that comes with it that people don't really tell you about. There's a lot of anger that you can hold inside. And it's okay to have that. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to laugh and to play and to, go out to dinner and do things like that for yourself while your child is in the NICU, because you're still a person. But don't ever hold back those feelings or feel like I shouldn't feel this way. That would be my biggest advice, is to just feel the things that you're feeling, to let them come out, to cry when you need to be angry when you need to be happy when you need to. And the second most important thing is to share those feelings with someone that you trust and someone that loves you, because those feelings, if you hold them inside, can destroy part of you. Find someone that you trust, whether it's just somebody you met on Facebook at random, or a pastor, a friend, your mom, your sister. Find someone that you trust and share those feelings and be open about them and be honest. Don't hold that inside. That's probably my biggest thing, and that's something I wish someone had told me. Going through it, was it's okay to just feel. It's okay to just be and to have those things. I wish I had known that then. So that would be my biggest pieces of advice, or tidbits to kind of get you through, is to feel what you need to feel and be who you need to be at that moment in time.
Thank you, Sara, for joining us. Thank you for sharing your story.
Sure.
And again, Palmetto Hearts is for little ones who have congenital heart disease. And if you need assistance, reach out to her and reach out to her organization. That's it for today, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.